Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 5 of our F1 2019 Haas Road to Glory career mode, where today we're here at the Spanish Grand Prix. And obviously if you guys missed out on the last episode, click that I at the top right hand side of your screen to get a link to both the last video and the full playlist from this series so far. An interesting race out at Azerbaijan, and yeah, hopefully this weekend at Spain we can have a bit of a better race. Obviously, if you are new around here, make sure you do get yourself subscribed for daily F1 2019 content. I'm planning on hopefully having another video going out later on today, just sort of a bit of a side video as well. So yeah, make sure you are subscribed for all of that good stuff from F1 2019. But moving on then into the Spanish Grand Prix weekend, and hopefully we have got some new upgrades going on the car. We should do, I think, if back is anything to go by. No, sadly, we do not. Once again, you know, we're still waiting on the couple more. I think we have got a couple meant to be coming in for the Monaco Grand Prix next time out at the very least. But yeah, coming on then into Spain, pace has been good these last couple of races. We're building up the consistency. I can confirm now I have upped the AI for the Monaco Grand Prix. We're going up to 103, 104 if I'm not mistaken, just to try and build up a little bit of extra momentum on this game as well. So obviously if you guys, you know, I've had a couple of guys saying, you know, up the AI a bit, and that is what I've decided to do for the next video. But anyway, free practice then was, once again, a fairly simple show, and 195 points scored. In the end, 616 that takes us up to now. Really quite happy with that one. And we're starting to make good progress here. Trying to, you know, get more upgrades on the car. We want to try and get ourselves into a position where we can build up some momentum, get sort of weekly upgrades going on. And we are going to go for yet another rear downforce upgrade. This time around with the Halo, 468 points. Quite happy with that. 21.5% chance of failure. Not such a fan of those odds, nonetheless. But let's move on then into qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix.
You join us today at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for what's bound to be a really hectic qualifying as the teams compete to set the best lap times. This is a track that tends to ask quite a lot of the tyres, both front and rear. So is it fair to say a great deal of management will be needed in order to do well here?
Tyre wear is always something you have to consider to a certain degree. Finding a good car balance that suits the circuit will help prolong the life of the tyre, but it's true that some circuits, such as this one, are more challenging than others. How hard you can push them depends on your strategy and how tight the battle is around you.
So anyway, moving on then into Q1 for the Spanish Grand Prix, and as I hope at least at this point of the championship, you know, Q1 a fairly simple show. We did an okay banker lap, a 1 minute 21.5, and I think, yeah, that would be good enough to get us through into Q2 in the end. They're only down in P13, a little bit off the pace than I would have liked. They see just behind my teammate Roman Grosjean, but still making it through on the one set of tyres there, so quite happy with that one, just ahead of Viva and Danny Kvyat. There is Sainz, Russell, Albon, Giovinazzi and Robbie Kubica all miss out on making it through into Q2 there. But I must just say, George Russell so far this season doing a fantastic job in the Williams. Sadly, they're going to be nerfed very soon on this game, so rip any chance for the Williams team on F1 2019. But moving on then into Q2 and towards the end of our flying lap, it had been an okay run. We'd actually done a banker prior to this of a 1 minute 21.9, and we were improving quite a bit. But like I've sort of said in the previous videos, you know, we're basing the setups more off race pace, so we're going a little less extreme on just sort of raw one lap flat out driving as well there. But through the final corner and down towards the line, we're going to be about 8/10 up over my previous lap though, so it's going to be a 1 minute 21.01 there. Where is that going to put us? It's only P11. Gutted to miss out on Q3 there. Yeah, just missing out. I can't remember what the gap was. Half a tenth as well. Heartbreak right at the end, ready for the Spanish Grand Prix there. But we start on a fresh set of rubber, and that might prove pivotal in the race as well. So it's going to be an interesting race, see how we fare. P11. Overall, not a bad qualifying session. You know, I really did feel like we got a lot out of the car there, and still a couple of tenths clear of my teammate Roman Grosjean there. So happy with that one. But yeah, anyway, let's jump on then. Qualifying is now all over. P11, fresh compounded tyres. Let's move on into the Spanish Grand Prix.
What does the Spanish Grand Prix have in store for us today, I wonder? I hope we see some tight wheel-to-wheel action down the main straight, circa Mansell and Senna way back in '91, or maybe we'll have a more strategic race here on a track where overtaking can be difficult. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Gasly, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Butler, Weber and Sergio Perez. Mr. Monaco, Norris, Roman Grosjean and Raikkonen, Kvyat, Sainz, George Russell and Alexander Albon, Giovinazzi and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So here we are then at the Spanish Grand Prix, really excited for this race, although it's not normally a track that my pace is the best at, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we fare this time around. Apologies, I don't know why, but Jeff decided he wasn't going to be going through the audio this time around. I don't know why it does this at the moment, but yeah, in terms of the race strategy, we are going to try and go for a medium-hard race. The game wasn't really a fan of it prior. He wanted to do the hards mediums, but not the mediums to hards, so we'll gloss over that and jump into the Grand Prix. Then the 5 lights are now coming on for the Spanish Grand Prix, round 5 of the season, and it's lights out and away we go then. No time held on the pit stop, and there we go, perfect start for Sergio Perez just in front of me. We bogged down ever so slightly, but one of my better starts so far on F1 2019. As we barrel into turn 1, we're going to try to look around the outside of the Force India there, get the car wedged up the inside for turn 2 there. He has to give me the room on the exit of the corner as we now go side by side through turn 3. The V-bar just up the road is going to make a bit of a mistake. We're just going to get penned in behind the Force Indias there off the start. Unfortunately, Perez, yeah, straight back up the inside. Nothing we can really do about that one there, but we are going to try and get a good run on the exit of the corner here and just watch the Force Indias. This is one of, if people question if the AI are very good on F1 2019 battling each other, just watch this phenomenal racing between the pair of them. Both being very aggressive, trying to give each other the squeeze as we come down towards the bottom of the hill there. And side by side up the hill they go. Who is going to come out on top? Perez tries to hang him out to dry there, but V-bar swings it around the outside. We once again get penned in behind them. Raikkonen is going to try to look to my outside as we come in towards the almost hairpin corner at the end of the back straight there. We hang Raikkonen out to dry, almost running to the back of Sergio Perez. They're still side by side just in front of me there, almost get tangled up there. Perez goes slow on the exit of the corner there. We're going to try and slip back around the outside of the Force India there, squeeze him out over the curves through the final couple of corners, and that is us up into P10 of the Grand Prix. So we have made up 1 place in the opening lap of this race there. Sebastian Vettel leads the way as we head on to lap 2 here, and yeah, just trying to now close the gap to V-bars. He'd also be closing up the gap to Daniel Ricciardo just up the road as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we can fare relative to these guys, because obviously they are on the set of the soft compound tyres, but those tyres must be going off very soon. There as V-bar and Ricciardo get all tangled up. I almost ran into the back of V-bar once again. Now the Force India is really giving me a bit of grief in the early stages of this race, but we do follow him through round the outside of Daniel Ricciardo, get good traction on the exit, just able to slide in front of the Renault car there, and yeah, now up into P9 of this Grand Prix. But like I was saying, you know, the soft compound tyres, very quick, but don't last very long, and the mediums have very good balance around this Spanish Grand Prix circuit. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how we fare relative to these guys. And a couple of places made up in the early stages, I will certainly take that. As now onto lap 4 we go in the slipstream of V-bar. He's going to try and go a bit defensive towards turn 1, but swoop up the inside, get back over to the racing line as well. They're a little bit aggressive cutting over the front of him, but we did want to get back out to the racing line, and that is just now up into P8 of the race. They're almost, I think, actually a tiny bit of contact as he tried to go for a bit of a half-hearted dive bomb through turn 3 there. And yeah, like I said, now up into P8, and next up on the old hit list is our arch rival from Formula 2, Butler. Whether we're going to be able to get close enough by the pit stop window is a very, very different question. As we head on to lap 7 now, you can see we are all over the back of the Renault car, but it looks highly, highly likely he would be diving into the pits on the end of this lap. A few drivers already had committed to the first pit stop of the day here, and pretty much everyone in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, locked into that 2-stop strategy here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fare in a long run, and all over the back of Butler, but no real point trying to go for any sort of dive bomb there. As through the final corner, almost ran to the back of him, but we do now move ourselves up into P4 of the Grand Prix. We're even going to make him another place there. Sebastian Vettel dives into the pit lane as well. I think we had Verstappen and Hamilton were the only two other drivers on the set of the medium compound tyres there, so they're going to try and go a bit longer in this Grand Prix as well, as we skip on to the end of lap 10 and just building up that pace, building up the momentum so far in this race. And I've got to be honest, although I don't particularly enjoy the Spanish Grand Prix driving, pace always seems to be quite good around here. It doesn't really make much sense, in all honesty. But yeah, no, the pace is usually quite decent around this track nonetheless. End of lap 14, almost out the halfway stage of this Grand Prix, and Hamilton and Verstappen would now both dive it in onto a set of hard compound tyres there. So both going for the same sort of race strategy as myself, and it wouldn't be much longer before we would dive it into the pit lane as well here onto the end of a lap 15, coming through the final couple of corners of the lap there. And just wanted to go that one lap longer, try and make sure that the hard compound tyres, just, you know, we wouldn't struggle as much in the second stint of the Grand Prix there. In towards the pit lane we go, make sure you don't hit that wall on the outside, and braking nice and tidy there, a little bit slow into the pits, but you know, we are going to hopefully get a nice clean pit stop this time around. Vettel moves back up to the race lead ahead of Hamilton and Charles Leclerc there. So hopefully, are we going to be able to get a good pit stop? No, we get held horrendously there. Really, really struggling with the pit stop mechanics here on F1 2019. But where are we going to come out in this Grand Prix? Gasly flies back past me as well there, and we are going to come out ahead of my teammate Romain Grosjean here, who, bear in mind, has to make another pit stop in this Grand Prix. That is absolutely critical for myself at about the halfway stage of this race. A lot of the other drivers still will have to make another pit stop in the second half of this Grand Prix. And yeah, like I said, not many drivers opting to go for the one stop here. It really, really could pay out at the end of this race. Lap 22 now, you can see skipping on a little bit as Charles Leclerc now dives into the pit lane towards the end, well, onto this final stint of the Grand Prix there. And it's going to be interesting to see on those medium compound tyres how much he can try and close down that gap over the next few laps towards the end of this race. And by the end of lap 25, 3-4 laps later, Charles Leclerc was really, really now starting to pile on the pressure. He'd been able to take a good chunk of time out of myself, but like we've seen in a couple of races in the past, the medium compound tyres relative to the hards can go off pretty quickly, and the pace advantage sort of swings back in favour of the hard compound tyres as well here. But yeah, one lap later though, Charles Leclerc still closing in that gap. You know, clearly those tyres still working very, very well towards the end of this Grand Prix here. 7 laps to go, he's about halfway through his stint so far towards the end of this race. Just short shifted on the exit of the chicane. They get a huge, huge moment as we come through the final corner, and that's going to be a completely open door for Charles Leclerc. We weren't really going to try and do much defending anyway, but yeah, unfortunate mistake there, and that means Charles Leclerc is back up into P4 of this Grand Prix here. But after that, we've sort of reached a very, very weird point in this Grand Prix. The pace just seemingly improved, and I don't know whether it was just the fact we had a car in front of us and we focused on, you know, a bit of a target. But if you have a look at the lap times, we were setting PBs lap after lap, going pretty much a second quicker on a set of shredded hard tyres than we had done at any other point in this Grand Prix. And I know obviously things like the, you know, we got very little fuel in the car and everything like that, but the pace was just really, really good right the way through towards the end of this Grand Prix. And I think honestly, if we weren't having to monitor the the fuel and the ERS right towards the end of this Grand Prix, we could have potentially hassled Charles Leclerc for that position once again. I really do think so at the end of the day there, and that probably really screams numbers about how I should probably be up in the AI for Monaco. And like I said at the start of this video, I will be doing that. But in towards the final lap though of this Grand Prix, sadly though, like I said, because of the fuel and the ERS, Charles Leclerc just able to build up a little bit of a gap over those final couple of laps as we just made sure the car was all back in check and everything like that. But in towards the final sector of the Grand Prix, on raw pace alone, this race has definitely been the best for us so far there. Hamilton comes through to take home his second race victory in a row of the F1 2019 season. It was looking like Ferrari OP, but Hamilton fighting back with back-to-back race victories there in towards the final couple of corners of the Spanish Grand Prix. It is going to be P5 at the end of the day. Really, really happy with that one. And I'll be honest, once I crossed the line, I was absolutely knackered. The concentration that had gone into that race was absolutely phenomenal there. And yeah, really, really happy. 10 points in the bag. We couldn't have really asked for much better in today's race.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
And I could see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They pushed and pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continued to extend the gap at the top of the table. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So there we are then at the end of the day. Hamilton takes home the race victory there, 8 seconds clear of Max Verstappen, the one-stop OP. Really, really working out there, as you can see. Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc in the Ferraris, 3rd and 4th. Myself, P5, was able to beat Pierre Gasly towards the end of that Grand Prix, and he wasn't even closing in on me very much as well there. Lucas and Devon 7th and 8th there, with Lando Norris and Kimi Räikkönen, I think, scoring, is that Alfa Romeo's first points of the season? It might have been. I know he did get one at last time out at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. Grosjean, unfortunate just to miss out there ahead of Sainz, Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, Kvyat, George Russell, Albon, Giovinazzi and Kubica all a lap down there, with Valtteri Bottas the only driver not to make it through to the end of that Grand Prix. But in the Drivers' World Championship, we reclaim best of the rest ahead of Lucas and Pierre Gasly there. Sergio Perez a long, long way back there with half the points of us three there. We've just been really, really consistent point scorers so far. Sainz jumps Ricciardo, Norris jumps Räikkönen, as still both Williams, both Toro Rossos and Giovinazzi are yet to score. But in the Constructors' standings, no changes. We just take a good haul of points back out of Racing Point there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here and you do want to see more F1 2019 action on the channel. That'll be it from me for this one, and I'm going to leave you guys, like always, with the race recap.